The stars burned cold in the void of space above the Tau-Kini system. Three massive fleets faced each other like ancient predators, their weapons charged and ready for battle. Each fleet represented one of the galaxy's greatest powers, and each had come here for the same reason, to claim the rich mining worlds that orbited the dying star. Admiral Vex of the Valerian Empire stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dark Sovereign. His pale blue skin gleamed under the ship's lights as he watched the enemy fleets through the main screen. The Valerians had ruled this part of the galaxy for over 1,000 years. Their ships were massive, built like floating fortresses with thick armor and devastating weapons. Vex believed that fear was the best way to control others, and his empire had grown strong through conquest. On the other side of the battlefield, Captain Zola of the Nexus Federation checked her ship's systems one more time. The Federation fleet was smaller but faster than the others. Their ships looked sleek and modern, built for trade and quick strikes. The Federation believed in making deals and earning profit, but they were not afraid to fight when credits were on the line. Zola had spent years building trade routes through this sector, and she would not let the other powers take what the Federation had worked so hard to develop. The Third Fleet belonged to the Keth Dominion, led by War Commander Grak. The Keth were warriors born and bred for battle. Their ships were angular and brutal, covered in spikes and weapon ports. Every Keth soldier lived for combat, and their ships reflected this violent nature. Grak had fought in dozens of battles, and his scarred face showed the price of his victories. The Dominion wanted these worlds not for their wealth but to prove their strength to the galaxy. For 3 hours the fleets had circled each other like wolves. Each commander knew that the first to attack would face the combined might of the other two. This was how galactic politics worked, a careful balance of power that had kept the three empires from destroying each other for over 200 years. But the balance was fragile, and everyone knew it could not last forever. "Sir," called Lieutenant Mora from the communication station aboard the Dark Sovereign, "the Federation fleet is moving closer to the second planet." Admiral Vex narrowed his cold eyes. The second planet held the richest mineral deposits in the system. If the Federation claimed it, they would have enough resources to build 100 new trade fleets. "Signal the fleet," he ordered. "Prepare for battle formation." On the Federation flagship Prosperity, Captain Zola saw the Valerian ships begin to move. "They're taking the bait," she said to her crew. "Helm, take us toward the asteroid field. If they want to fight, we'll give them one on our terms." War Commander Grak watched both fleets moving and felt his warriors' blood sing. "Finally," he growled to his bridge crew. "Order all ships to attack positions. Today we prove that the Keth are the strongest warriors in the galaxy." The three fleets moved toward each other like a deadly dance. Energy weapons charged with deadly light. Missile tubes loaded their most powerful warheads. Shield generators hummed with power as they prepared to absorb the incoming fire. Admiral Vex fired first. Bright blue beams of energy shot from his flagship toward the Federation fleet. The beams struck the shields of 3 Federation cruisers, causing them to flare with protective energy. Captain Zola responded immediately, launching a wave of smart missiles toward the Valerian formation. War Commander Grak saw his chance and ordered his fleet to attack both enemies at once. The Keth ships opened fire with everything they had. Plasma cannons, railguns, and fusion torpedoes filled the space between the fleets with deadly light. The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had seen in decades. Ships exploded in brilliant flashes of light. Debris scattered across space as hulls were torn apart by enemy fire. The three fleets fought with desperate fury, each trying to gain the advantage over their ancient enemies. But the battle was too even. Each fleet was roughly equal in size and power. The Valerians had the strongest ships, but they were slow. The Federation had the fastest vessels, but their armor was weak. The Keth had the most aggressive fighters, but their technology was older than their enemies. After 6 hours of fighting, all three fleets were badly damaged. Ships drifted powerless through space. Escape pods carried wounded crews away from burning vessels. The space around Tau-Tigni was filled with wreckage and the bodies of those who had died in the battle. Admiral Vex looked at his tactical display and felt anger burning in his chest. Half his fleet was destroyed or disabled. The enemy fleets were in just as bad shape, but that was no comfort. The Valerian Empire could not afford to lose so many ships. Captain Zola counted her losses and shook her head sadly. Dozens of good traders and their families had died today. The profit from these worlds would never be worth so much blood, but she could not retreat now. That would show weakness to her enemies. War Commander Grak felt satisfaction despite his heavy losses. This was what the Keth lived for: glorious battle against worthy foes. Even if his fleet was destroyed, the songs of this fight would be sung for generations. The three commanders prepared for the final phase of the battle. Each fleet had enough strength left for one more attack. After that, there would be nothing left but wreckage and memories. Then something impossible happened. "Sir," Lieutenant Mora called from her station, her voice filled with shock. "Long-range sensors are picking up a new contact. Something big is coming out of hyperspace." Admiral Vex turned to look at the sensor display. A new signature was approaching the battlefield, but it was unlike anything in their databases. The ship was large, but not as massive as a Valerian dreadnought. It moved with the smooth grace of a Federation cruiser, but its energy readings were off the charts. "What is that?" Captain Zola whispered as her own sensors detected the approaching vessel. War Commander Grak felt a chill run down his spine. In all his years of fighting, he had never seen sensor readings like these. The unknown ship was still minutes away, but already he could tell it was something new. Something that did not belong to any of the three galactic powers. As the three battered fleets watched in growing alarm, the unknown vessel dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Tau Cygni system. It was sleek and deadly, with lines that seemed to flow like water. Strange energy patterns danced along its hull, and its approach was silent as death itself. The balance of power that had ruled the galaxy for centuries was about to be shattered forever. Captain Lee Dae-hyun stood on the bridge of the Earth vessel Indomitable, watching the three alien fleets tear each other apart on the main screen. His dark eyes were calm, but inside he felt the weight of history pressing down on his shoulders. For over 200 years, humanity had watched these civilizations from the shadows. Today, that long silence would finally end. "Captain," said Commander Kim Woo-jin from the tactical station, "all three fleets have taken heavy damage. Their formation integrity is at 40%. Lee nodded slowly. The battle had gone exactly as Earth's computers had predicted. The three galactic powers were so evenly matched that they could only destroy each other. Without intervention, this fight would end with no winners and thousands of dead. "Communications," Lee called to Lieutenant Park Min-seok. "Open a channel to all three fleets. Full broadcast, all frequencies." "Channel open, sir." Lee stepped forward, his hands clasped behind his back. In the cargo bay below, Ambassador Kang Ji-hoon waited with his diplomatic team. In the Marine quarters, Colonel Yoon Hyesu prepared her soldiers for possible combat. Throughout the ship, Earth's finest men and women held their breath as their captain prepared to speak. "This is Captain Lee Dae-hyun of the Earth vessel Indomitable," he said in a clear, strong voice. "You will cease hostilities immediately. Any ship that fires another shot will be disabled." On the bridge of the Dark Sovereign, Admiral Vex stared at the communication screen in disbelief. "Earth?" he said to his officers. "There is no civilization called Earth in our star charts." Lieutenant Mora checked her computer. "Sir, the ship is not in our identification database. The design is completely unknown." Admiral Vex felt anger replacing his confusion. How dare this unknown vessel interrupt a battle between the galaxy's greatest powers? "Weapons officer, target that ship. Show them what happens when someone interferes with the Valerian Empire." But before the Valerian gunner could fire, Captain Zola's voice came over the communication channel. "Unknown vessel, this is Captain Zola of the Federation ship Prosperity. You are entering a combat zone. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." War Commander Grak was already giving orders to his crew. "All ships, new target. Destroy the intruder first, then we finish our fight with the others." Captain Lee watched as all three fleets began to turn their weapons toward his ship. He had expected this reaction. The three powers had been fighting each other for so long that they saw any outsider as a threat. "Chief Engineer Bae Min-ho," Lee called through the ship's communication system. "Power up the defensive grid. Show them what Earth engineering can do." In the engine room deep inside the Indomitable, Bae Min-ho smiled as he activated the ship's advanced systems. Energy flowed through circuits that used technology the alien races had never dreamed of. The ship's hull began to glow with a soft blue light as the defensive shields reached full power. "Captain," Commander Kim reported, 37 ships are targeting us. Valerian dreadnoughts, Federation cruisers, and Keth destroyers. They're charging weapons. Let them fire first, Lee said calmly. We need to show them the difference between Earth and everyone else. The attack came all at once. Dozens of energy beams, missiles, and plasma bolts shot toward the Indomitable from every direction. The weapons were powerful enough to destroy a small moon. Any ship from the 3 galactic fleets would have been vaporized instantly. But the Earth vessel simply absorbed the attack. The blue glow around its hull flared brighter as the alien weapons struck the shields. Energy readings spiked across every sensor in the 3 fleets. When the light faded, the Indomitable hung in space completely undamaged. Impossible, Admiral Vex whispered. His most powerful weapons had done nothing to the strange ship. Captain Lee waited for the alien commanders to understand what they had just witnessed. Then he spoke again. Your weapons cannot harm us. However, ours can be quite effective against you. Observe. The Indomitable moved forward with smooth grace. Its weapons came online, not the massive gun batteries that the alien races used, but small, precise energy projectors that could target specific systems. The Earthship fired once at each of the 3 fleets. Admiral Vex felt his flagship shudder as something struck the engine section. Damage report, he shouted. Sir, called his engineer. Main engines are offline. All power systems in that section have been surgically disabled. No casualties, but we cannot move. The same thing happened to ships in all 3 fleets. The Indomitable had fired exactly 12 shots and disabled 12 major warships. Each shot had been perfectly aimed to shut down engines or weapons without killing anyone. In 30 seconds, the most powerful fleets in the galaxy had been rendered helpless. Now, Captain Lee said over the open channel, we will discuss peace. Ambassador Kang Ji-hoon materialized on the bridge as the ship's transport system beamed him up from the diplomatic quarters. He was an older man with silver hair and kind eyes that had seen many difficult negotiations. Captain, I believe they are ready to listen now. Lee nodded. Kang Ji-hoon, meet the galaxy. Galaxy, meet Earth's first ambassador. The ambassador stepped forward to address the 3 fleets. Honored commanders, I am Ambassador Kang Ji-hoon, representing the civilization of Earth and humanity. We have been observing your conflicts for many years, and we believe it is time for a new approach to galactic relations. On the Dark Sovereign, Admiral Vex was trying to understand what had just happened. A single ship had disabled his entire fleet without breaking a sweat. The technology was beyond anything the Valerian Empire possessed. Captain Zola was running calculations on her computer. The precision of the Earthship's weapons was incredible. They had targeted specific systems on moving vessels in the middle of a chaotic battle and hit every shot perfectly. War Commander Grak felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. Not fear of death, which every Keth warrior accepted, but fear of being completely outmatched. The Earthship had treated his mighty fleet like children playing with toys. How long have you been watching us? Admiral Vex asked, his voice tight with controlled anger. Ambassador Kang answered honestly. For 217 years, we achieved faster-than-light travel independently and discovered your civilizations during our early exploration missions. We decided to observe and learn before making contact. And what did you learn? Captain Zola asked. That you are trapped in an endless cycle of conflict, the ambassador replied. Each of your races has great potential, but you waste it fighting wars that solve nothing. You could accomplish so much more working together. War Commander Grak laughed bitterly. You think you can end conflicts that have lasted for centuries? The Keth do not make peace with weaklings. I did not say we were weak, Ambassador Kang said quietly. I said we preferred cooperation to conquest. Captain Lee stepped back into the conversation. The ship you just fought is one of 500 in Earth's fleet. We have been preparing for this day for a very long time. You have seen what one vessel can do. Do not make us show you what 500 can accomplish. The 3 fleet commanders fell silent as the implications sank in. If Earth had 500 ships with this level of technology, they could conquer the entire galaxy in a matter of weeks. But Ambassador Kang continued speaking, and his words carried a different message. We do not want to conquer anyone. We want to help you build something better than this eternal war. Captain Lee has demonstrated our strength, but strength without wisdom is meaningless. We offer you partnership, not domination. Admiral Vex looked at his disabled fleet and made a decision that would change the galaxy forever. What exactly are you proposing, Ambassador? The conversation that followed would last for hours. but it was the beginning of a new age for all four civilizations. 3 days after the battle at Tauchigny, emergency sessions were called across the galaxy. In the crystal spires of the Valerian capital, Emperor Xiphon sat in his throne room surrounded by his most trusted advisors. The holographic reports from Admiral Vex seemed impossible to believe. "One ship?" the Emperor asked, his voice cold as space itself. "One alien ship disabled an entire fleet?" "Yes, Your Majesty," Admiral Vex replied through the communication link. "Their technology is unlike anything we have encountered. Our most powerful weapons had no effect on their shields." On the Federation homeworld of Nexus Prime, the Council of Traitors gathered in their great glass dome. Captain Zola stood before them, still wearing her battle-damaged uniform. The council members whispered among themselves as she described the Earth vessel's capabilities. "They knew everything about us," Zola reported. "Ship designs, weapon specifications, battle tactics. It was as if they had been studying us for years." High Counselor Webb leaned forward in his chair. "Did they make any demands? Ask for territory or trade agreements?" "No, sir. They only spoke of peace and cooperation. But their ambassador made it clear they have many more ships like the one we encountered." In the war halls of the Keth homeworld, the Dominion's greatest warriors gathered around War Commander Grak. The scarred veteran had fought in hundreds of battles, but none had left him so shaken. "They could have destroyed us all," Grak told the assembled commanders. "Their weapons were precise enough to disable our ships without killing a single warrior. That level of control requires technology far beyond our understanding." Supreme War Leader Thane pounded his fist on the metal table. "No alien race is superior to the Keth. We will gather our fleets and crush these humans." But Grak shook his head. "War Leader, I have seen their ship. If they truly have 500 vessels with such power, we would be fighting a war we cannot win." While the three galactic powers struggled to understand what had happened, Captain Lee Daehyun met with his senior officers aboard the Indomitable. The ship hung in space between the three disabled fleets, serving as a neutral meeting ground for the ongoing negotiations. "How are our guests responding to the cultural briefings?" Lee asked Dr. Choi Yoonji, the ship's xenobiologist. "Better than expected, Captain," she replied. "The Federation representatives are fascinated by our economic models. The Valerians are studying our technological achievements. Even the Keth are showing interest in our military history." Commander Kim Woojin looked up from his tactical display. "Captain, Admiral Park Soman is requesting permission to bring the Second Fleet to our position." Lee considered this carefully. Admiral Park commanded 50 more Earth vessels, each as advanced as the Indomitable. Her arrival would definitely make an impression on the alien powers, but it might also frighten them into making desperate decisions. "Tell the Admiral to hold position at the edge of the system," Lee decided. "We want them to know we have reinforcements, but we do not want to appear threatening." In the ship's diplomatic quarters, Ambassador Kang Ji-hoon was meeting with representatives from all three fleets. The aliens sat around a circular table, still amazed by the Earthship's interior. The walls displayed images of Earth's cities, forests, and oceans. Many of the aliens had never seen a world quite like humanity's homeworld. "Your planet is beautiful," said Federation Captain Yost, a tall woman with blue-green skin. "But these images show billions of people living in peace. How is such harmony possible?" Ambassador Kang smiled sadly. "It was not always so. Humanity spent thousands of years fighting wars much like yours. We nearly destroyed ourselves with nuclear weapons before we learned to work together." Valerian Subcommander Nexus leaned forward. "You are saying your species overcame its violent nature?" "Not overcame," Kang corrected. "We learned to direct it toward constructive purposes. Humans still compete, but we compete to build better things rather than to destroy each other." Keth Battle Leader. Fourth snorted. "Impossible. Warriors are born to fight. It is our nature." "And yet," Kang replied gently, "here you sit talking instead of fighting. Perhaps there is more to nature than we sometimes believe." The ambassador activated a holographic display showing Earth's solar system. "We would like to show you something that might interest all three of your civilizations." The display zoomed in on several objects orbiting Earth's sun. They were massive structures, each one larger than the biggest space stations any of the alien races had built. "These are our deep space monitoring stations," Kang explained. "For over 2 centuries they have been watching and recording everything that happens in your part of the galaxy." Captain Yost stared at the images. "You have been spying on us?" We have been learning from you, Kang replied. And in many cases we have been protecting you. The display changed to show various incidents from across the galaxy. A massive asteroid that had been quietly deflected from a collision course with a Federation world. A dangerous space plague that had been stopped before it could spread to inhabited systems. Pirate fleets that had mysteriously disappeared after attacking civilian shipping. Every one of these disasters was prevented by Earth intervention, the ambassador continued. We have been active in your galaxy for decades, but always from the shadows. Sub-Commander Nexus stood up abruptly. Why? Why protect civilizations you had never contacted? Because life is precious, Kang said simply. We learned from our own dark history that intelligent beings must help each other, or we will all destroy ourselves. Battle Leader Vorth was studying the tactical data on the holographic display. Your ships can move undetected through our space. You could have conquered us at any time. Conquest was never our goal, Kang replied. We want partners, not subjects. As the meeting continued, each alien representative began to understand the scope of Earth's capabilities. Humanity had not just developed superior technology. They had fundamentally changed their approach to galactic relations. Captain Yost asked the question that was on everyone's mind. What happens now? What do you want from us? Before Ambassador Kang could answer, Commander Kim's voice came over the ship's communication system. Ambassador, Captain Lee requests your presence on the bridge immediately. When Kang arrived on the bridge, he found Captain Lee studying a tactical display that showed the entire Tau Kigni system. New contacts were appearing at the edge of sensor range. What are we looking at, Captain? Kang asked. Reinforcements, Lee replied grimly. All three powers are sending additional fleets. It seems our demonstration was not as convincing as we hoped. Commander Kim highlighted the approaching ships on his display. 60 Valerian vessels, 40 Federation ships, and 35 Keth warships. They are moving to surround our position. Dr. Choi Yoonji looked worried. Captain, if they attack together, we will have to respond with greater force than we used before. Lee nodded slowly. He had hoped that wisdom would prevail, but it seemed the three galactic powers were not ready to accept Earth's peaceful intentions. Signal Admiral Park. Tell her to bring the Second Fleet forward. It is time to show them that we are serious about ending this conflict. Ambassador Kang felt the weight of history settling on his shoulders. The next few hours would determine whether the galaxy moved toward peace or descended into a war that could destroy billions of lives. Captain, he said quietly, let me try talking to them one more time before we take any military action. Of course, Ambassador, Lee replied. But if they will not listen to words, we will have to speak in a language they understand. As the three alien fleets approached, the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance between diplomacy and force. Admiral Park So-min stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Horizon, watching as the combined alien fleets took position around the Tau Cygni system. 50 Earth vessels hung in perfect formation behind her, their hulls gleaming with the soft blue glow of activated shield systems. Each ship was a masterpiece of human engineering, but Park knew that what truly made them powerful was the unity of purpose shared by their crews. Admiral, reported Captain No Yuna from the destroyer Retribution. Enemy fleet composition is confirmed. They have over 2,000 ships in total. Park studied the tactical display with calm eyes. She had been preparing for this moment for 15 years. Ever since Earth's leadership decided that humanity could no longer stand by and watch the galaxy tear itself apart. What is their formation, Captain? Classic three-pronged attack, Admiral. The Valerians are taking the center with their heavy ships. Federation forces are moving to flank us from the right, and the Keth are positioning for a direct assault from the left. They are using their standard combined tactics, Park observed. It seems they have forgotten that we have been watching their military exercises for decades. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Captain Lee Daehyun received a final communication from the three fleet commanders. Admiral Vec spoke for all of them, his voice hard with determination. Captain Lee, you have 1 hour to withdraw from this system. If your ships are still here after that time, we will consider it an act of war against all three galactic powers. Lee looked at Ambassador Kang Ji-hoon, who had spent the last 6 hours trying to convince the alien leaders to choose diplomacy over violence. The ambassador's face showed disappointment but not surprise. I tried, Captain, Kang said quietly, but they believe their united fleets can overcome our technology through sheer numbers. Then we will have to teach them otherwise, Lee replied. He opened a channel to Admiral Park. Admiral, you are cleared to begin the demonstration. Rules of engagement are non-lethal force only. We want to disable their ships, not destroy them. Understood, Captain, Park responded. All ships, this is Admiral Park. Execute Operation Peaceful Thunder. The Earth fleet moved forward with smooth precision. Unlike the chaotic formations of the alien fleets, every human ship knew exactly where it needed to be. They had practiced this maneuver hundreds of times in secret training exercises. General Han Dong-hyun, Earth's chief military strategist, watched the battle unfold from the command center on Earth's moon. He had designed the tactics that the fleet was now using, based on 2 centuries of studying alien warfare. Phase 1 complete, he reported to the other commanders. Our ships are in optimal position. The alien fleets opened fire first, just as Earth's planners had predicted. Thousands of energy beams, missiles, and plasma bolts filled the space around the Taukigny system. The amount of firepower being directed at the 50 Earth ships was enough to destroy a small planet, but the human vessels seemed to dance between the incoming fire. Their advanced engines allowed them to change direction instantly, making them almost impossible to target accurately. When enemy fire did strike their shields, the energy was simply absorbed and converted to power their own systems. Commander Shin Minji aboard the Earth cruiser Lightning was responsible for electronic warfare operations. With a few commands, she activated systems that jammed alien communications and targeting computers. Suddenly, the 3 enemy fleets found themselves fighting blind and deaf. Admiral, Captain No reported from the Retribution. Enemy coordination is breaking down. They cannot communicate with each other or lock onto our ships. Begin Phase 2, Admiral Park ordered. The Earth ships started their counterattack, but instead of the massive explosions that characterized alien warfare, they used precise energy pulses that targeted specific systems on enemy vessels. Dr. Lee Jae-ho had spent years developing these weapons, which could disable enemy ships without harming their crews. Admiral Vex watched in horror as his flagship's main computer systems went offline one by one. What are they doing to us? He demanded. His chief engineer checked the damage reports. Sir, they are surgically removing our ability to fight. Weapons offline, shields down, engines disabled. But there are no casualties. The same thing was happening throughout all 3 fleets. Earth's weapons were so advanced that they could target individual circuit boards inside enemy ships. Within an hour, hundreds of alien vessels were drifting helplessly in space. Captain Zola tried to coordinate a Federation counterattack, but her communications were completely jammed. Her own ship was still functional, but most of her fleet had been systematically disabled. How are they doing this? She asked her science officer. Captain, their technology is at least 200 years ahead of ours, came the reply. They are not just more advanced, they are using completely different principles of physics, War Commander. Grak felt rage and admiration fighting in his chest as he watched the Earth fleet destroy his forces without killing a single warrior. This was the kind of precise, overwhelming victory that every Keth commander dreamed of achieving. Signal the Earth ships, he ordered. I wish to speak with their admiral. Admiral Park received the communication request and accepted it. War Commander Grak's scarred face appeared on her screen, showing a mixture of respect and defeat. Admiral Park, Grak said formally, I am War Commander Grak of the Keth Dominion. You have won a great victory today. The Keth surrender to your superior forces. But Park shook her head. We are not accepting surrenders, War Commander. We are offering partnership. Before Grak could respond, Admiral Park opened a communication channel to all 3 fleets. Her image appeared on every functioning screen in the alien armadas. Commanders of the 3 galactic powers, she began. Today, you have seen what Earth technology can accomplish. We have disabled over 1,500 of your ships without killing a single person. This is not because we are merciful. It is because we are precise. She paused to let her words sink in. If we had chosen to destroy instead of disable, your fleets would be nothing but debris floating in space. But destruction was never our goal. Admiral Vex, his ship powerless and drifting, felt something he had not experienced in decades. Humility. What is your goal, Admiral? To end the wars that have plagued this galaxy for centuries, Park replied. Your 3 civilizations have been fighting each other for so long that you have forgotten how to work together. Earth wants to show you a better way. Captain Zola managed to restore communications on her ship and joined the conversation. "Admiral Park, why should we trust you? You have just demonstrated that you could conquer us all." "Because," Park said simply, "conquest is easy. Building something better is much harder. We want your help in that harder task." Admiral Park activated her ship's holographic projectors, filling the space around the disabled fleets with images of what the galaxy could become. Cities where multiple species worked together. Research stations where alien scientists shared knowledge. Trade routes that brought prosperity to all worlds instead of just a few. "This is what we are offering," Park continued. "Not domination, but cooperation. Not fear, but hope." War Commander Grack studied the images and felt something stirring in his warrior's heart. "You speak of honor without conquest. Is such a thing possible?" "The greatest honor," Admiral Park replied, "comes from protecting those who cannot protect themselves. There are threats in this galaxy that are far greater than any of our civilizations. We need to work together to face them." As if summoned by her words, new contacts appeared on the long-range sensors. Strange ships unlike any design in the galactic databases were approaching from beyond the rim of known space. Admiral Park looked at the sensor readings and felt a chill run down her spine. "Commanders, it seems we have more immediate concerns than our political differences. Something is coming from outside the galaxy, and we will need all of our combined strength to meet it." The demonstration was over, but the real test was just beginning. 6 months had passed since the great battle at Tau Cygni, and the galaxy was transformed beyond recognition. President Nam Taehyun of Earth stood in the main conference room aboard the Indomitable, looking out at representatives from hundreds of worlds. The Galactic Peace Accords lay before him, a document that would reshape civilization for generations to come. "Today marks the beginning of a new age," President Nam said to the assembled delegates. "An age where our differences make us stronger instead of tearing us apart." At the main table sat the leaders who had once commanded opposing fleets. Admiral Vex now wore the blue uniform of the Galactic Council instead of the black and silver of the Valerian Empire. Captain Zola had been elected as the first director of interstellar commerce. War Commander Grack, his warrior's pride intact but his purpose transformed, served as the new director of galactic security. Ambassador Kang Ji-hoon smiled as he watched former enemies working together to solve problems that had seemed impossible just months before. The transition had not been easy, but the threat from beyond the galaxy had given everyone a common purpose. Dr. Yu Sang-wook, Earth's lead scientist in the new Galactic Research Initiative, presented his latest findings to the Council. "The unknown ships we detected appear to be from a civilization that calls itself the Devourers. They consume the resources of entire star systems and move on to the next target." Captain Lee Dae-hyun, now serving as Earth's military liaison to the Galactic Council, studied the tactical projections. "How long before they reach our space?" "Approximately 18 months, Dr. Yu replied. "But they are not our only concern. Our deep space probes have detected at least 3 other potential threats approaching from different directions." Admiral Lim So-young, the first commander of the integrated Galactic Peace Fleet, looked at the strategic display with calm determination. "Gentlemen, this is exactly why we needed to unite. No single civilization could face these threats alone. The Peace Fleet was humanity's greatest achievement in the new galactic order. Ships from all 4 civilizations served together under unified command. Valerian heavy cruisers provided massive firepower. Federation vessels handled logistics and supply lines. Keth destroyers served as fast attack craft, and Earth ships coordinated everything with their advanced technology and tactical expertise. President Nam activated a holographic display showing the current state of the galaxy. Green zones indicated areas under the protection of the Galactic Council. Trade routes shown in blue connected hundreds of worlds in peaceful commerce. Yellow markers showed joint research stations where scientists from different species worked together to solve galactic challenges. 6 months ago, we were 3 separate empires fighting over scraps, President Nam said. Today we are one united civilization preparing to defend our entire galaxy. But the transformation had not been without its difficulties. Admiral Vex reported on the latest challenges facing the new government. Mr. President, we are still dealing with resistance from some military commanders who believe the old ways were better. Several Valerian nobles have declared their sectors independent from the Galactic Council. War Commander Grack leaned forward. My warriors can deal with these rebels quickly. A few examples will bring the others into line. No, President Nam said firmly. We will not build peace through fear and violence. Those methods belong to the past. Captain Zola offered a different solution. Mr. President, perhaps we can show these rebels the benefits of cooperation rather than threatening them with punishment. The independent sectors are struggling without access to the combined trade networks. Economic pressure might be more effective than military force. Ambassador Kang nodded approvingly. Captain Zola is correct. We must prove that our new system works better than the old one. Force should be our last option, not our first. Dr. Choi Yoonji, now serving as the Director of Xenological Studies, brought up another important issue. Mr. President, we need to address the cultural integration challenges. Many species are having difficulty adapting to multiracial crews and joint research teams. What do you recommend, Doctor? President Nam asked. Exchange programs, she replied. Young people from each civilization should spend time living and working with the others. Understanding breeds cooperation. Admiral Lim stood to address the council. Mr. President, I have a proposal for our defense against the Devourer threat. Instead of waiting for them to reach our territory, I suggest we take the fight to them. Captain Lee looked interested. What did you have in mind, Admiral? A joint strike force, Lim explained. Our fastest ships from all 4 civilizations armed with our most advanced weapons. We could intercept the Devourer fleet while they are still in empty space far from any inhabited systems. War Commander Grack's eyes brightened with approval. An honorable plan. We meet our enemies in battle before they can threaten innocent lives. But Admiral Vex had concerns. Admiral Lim, we know very little about Devourer technology. What if our strike force is defeated? Then we will learn from the battle, President Nam said quietly. And the information will help us prepare better defenses. Dr. Yu added his support to the plan. Mr. President, a joint mission would also serve as the ultimate test of our new alliance. If our species can fight together successfully, it will prove that the Galactic Council truly works. As the debate continued, Captain Lee found himself thinking about the journey that had brought them to this point. Earth had watched the galaxy from the shadows for over 2 centuries, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. The decision to intervene at Tau Cygni had been risky, but it had ultimately led to something beautiful, a united galaxy working toward common goals. President Nam called for a vote on Admiral Lim's proposal. One by one, the representatives of hundreds of worlds raised their hands in approval. The strike force would be assembled, and the galaxy would face its first external threat as a united civilization. As the council session ended, Captain Lee walked to the observation deck of the Indomitable. Through the transparent aluminum windows, he could see ships from dozens of different species working together in perfect harmony. Valerian engineers helped repair Federation trade vessels. Keth warriors trained alongside human marines. Scientists from all 4 civilizations shared data and discoveries. Ambassador Kang joined him at the window. A beautiful sight, is it not, Captain? Yes, Lee replied. But I wonder if it will last. Peace is much harder to maintain than war is to start. Perhaps, Kang said thoughtfully, but we have given them something worth fighting for. Not territory or resources, but the idea that different species can work together for the benefit of all. Captain Lee nodded as he watched, a mixed crew of humans and aliens, preparing one of the new Peace Fleet vessels. For its first mission, our ancestors fought wars over small patches of land on Earth. Now their descendants help protect an entire galaxy. Perhaps there is hope for us all. In the distance, the stars burned with the same cold light they had always shone, but now they illuminated something new, a galaxy where ancient enemies had become allies, where competition had been replaced by cooperation, and where the dream of lasting peace was finally becoming reality. The balance of power had indeed been broken, but what emerged from the ruins was far stronger than what had come before, and as the first integrated galactic peace fleet prepared to face the unknown threats from beyond, the galaxy stood united as never before in its long and turbulent history. The future stretched ahead, full of challenges and possibilities, but for the first time in centuries, all the galaxy's children would face it together.